Ghana's #1.
Abonunsia ene November bosome no ne da etoso aduonu nan omanade hye mamunyina jo me mama kwa bamra enwumre no nsia Kasiebo e wo Ctv so ensem hodo ya yaboa no fidie mu no ne braso se metenanse na mede so mo wo don hwere ba kontem yenhwe ne ensem no nia edimu akotene ebie Kofa by ma CMG Mika CMG Accra FM kaho CTV ekaho #1 FM ene ne nuanu akaya hwete wo my Ghana mo Alhaji Saidu Agongo akoya doye ama wonum a oni bie mobro wafo ya nsu yire nam so ama wonom ekuro adane amanfo no akoya wonum aye ama sesede won botom ayede So afọ abedi achire ya wo hwezika sam eso wo my Ghana mo abna osaya sorry dia to just say e wo mo osa COVID-19 ebesai wo meye ni so ade hunu de na so aban na ya ade pa ma say inflation abafom se ya hwi wo ha mo nchichemu aduasanum achire pomienu Sika sam Kasiebo emu no so afọ wo hwensa so nsam dia to just say gold for oil policy no aboa ama national crude oil consumption no eboa emu 30% na so ha mo nchichemu aduasa ye beko ama hodo so ensam na Niger man no opanyina na oda cool no anasa abantuguo no amanba yensa kan ene se wakobonsra e wo Mali e na afei Burkina Faso aman no emu Abusafo we kan sama hudo benom hono matena se don hwere akode somwo se enwumre no nsia Kasiebo e wo Ctv so Kasiebo etwago e wo wafiefie ahodo mu kasafo ni so a uduru abefo ntenten fidie ni so a my Ctv GH social media handles ahodo ni nyina obo my Ctv Kasiebo e bepia ba na wonya bi ahwe kai so beto ama no mfefo ama wonom so enya bi ahwe enwumre wosomfo e Afia Brempomaa Hineh me twa me ho sima me ba ensem no wo ha mere besomo afe yamomo akwaba kase no emu ensem nie Kofa ba hema CMG Class Media Group Alhaji Saidu Agongo wakwaya doye amomanfo ya ewo mepe ne nyina enese akoso monsuo anasa dam ya obi eye ema nsu yira hodo efoforo amanfo ya sabre nkro ni bi krada ne amanfo no adwumawura kyeresa wotena ase entena na ewose wono nso so ekeka aka ne nsase kakra na eye 400,000 Ghana cedis ene ode akomo amanfo ewo mepe se wonso mwe na wonfama won ho bra
Sabredie ebusia bese 31,000 ena we free fie esa insuyiri ya efa wonum ejapade ene wonfudie ni nano ena mso ema ukopiemu ewo mepe ene ni mpotemu dia na tese enwumesua nso atoba ha pasa nse empenifo atutuku dan bebre na emu aban wabra working kan akomapsika no meche 2024 budget statement and economic policy and wodi etu jose wecha 220 million Ghana cedis bi edi ato wonum no womo deboa ama womo a ensuyiri eha wonum nyina no watimi ede esiwonda demu ebio na eyama me frema ose pari chief of staff edi kai echiremu se emu 40 million de wodi kan edi aboa safo ni na ene fiada eye businessman philanthropist afi group chairman awono another class media group ano Alhaji Saidu Agongo edi sikebuduo 4,000 million Ghana cedis akwakoboa wonu mu a won ho ekomu ewo mepe na sika we no wo mo chema nipa dodo be yes 1158 ya emudodo na yenuanu asebio wo mo edidem sanso na ekunafo eka ho bie single mothers when yi wonum emfrimu sika we betimi aboa ama wonum esi wondademu ebio ajeman opon wono na business development manager with that Class Media Group ano wakasa ye edima Alhaji Seidu Agongo nisem no be any.
But with the strength of togetherness as symbolized in the saying that little drops of water makes a mighty ocean, no disaster has ever won over humanity. It may rob us of loved ones or our jobs and happiness, the tranquility of normalcy and the sweat of our lives, but those are temporary. The power of family, friends, and community always ensures that humanity overcomes these challenges for life to continue. Now, this is why my team and I are here today to provide monetary support to 1,158 aged, single mothers, widows, and persons with disability. Each person will receive a minimum cash amount of 200 Ghana cedis to use in cushioning him or herself against the unfortunate situation. As your brothers and sisters across the country, we deeply share in the pain and frustration that these floods inflicted on you and your livelihoods. Now, while we have expressed it in our hearts and from afar, the warmth that comes with physical presence is comparable to that. With us too is a financial support drawn from the purity of our hearts and our resolve to help our brothers and our sisters to shake off the burden of the disaster and get back on their feet.
And which way? And Mankradwa wo mepe traditional area. Togbe Kwesi nego ya wotosunsia. Edi asida PSC Emma Alhaji Seidu Agongo. Sawakai wonum abeyasa adoyewe.
Thousands of homes were submerged. Farms and properties were lost to the flood. We heard that VRA had made provision for us by supporting NABMO with 20 million Ghana cedis. As of now, we have not received anything, any money, any relief items to prove the promise or what we have heard. Also, the finance minister was here with us. He promised that he brought us a relief item worth 2 million Ghana cedis. We have not received such relief items yet. We are still hoping and praying that NADMO and VRA
The Kwakwamo Wama Wonsa Eka Sikanubie and CMG Eka Sai.
Emma bebre bae enya nkwa na meso nsanka enti di o mae mi da na si bebre na me shran o she na dem bom.
As this thing happened, we are all suffering, crying, looking for help, like what to do, people that can help. So we took the time to like, some people in this house, some people else. When we are at the because nothing happened, they come and come and say, the name of the among the people. If I realize they give them, No, turn it over. Sorry. So she will receive this. I'm also happy that people are crying. People are saying I'm crying. So I will use this opportunity to thank Chairman again for his words and what he can do. Even if not him, somebody somewhere can help for them. We will be drawn for that. Right now, a lot of us, we lost our homes. We lost our property, especially where to put our heads. you don't have it. So that's the only thing I can say. So we should bless Chama for a bit.
Afia nto na yen kwaya ni monsem foforo so afo abede kire ya wo hwese kasam so eye era abna osei asare wode atodwa se wo mo se COVID-19 ebeji sometime wo mai komo e ma nioma ye bisibasa eno akire e na Russia ni Ukraine tokwa esan be ka ho enti na bibia ka kowie se wo mai ka yesi kasam de sa brinka tete awia pro pansam ya wode yehia enye ye nanso ewrei e pa kire se aban no modem a wode agu akwamu no modem no binsi dasa e wo mai Ghana mu enti na sese kasam agina na nai so e wo mai Ghana mu ama inflation abafom no
November bosome ne de toso dunum afimpimi no ene eduanum yensa yemu ena wo mai Ghana ye foto sanfo ken ofowiata wo kenkan afimpimi no ene edunan yakoma bosika no ede kire wo mai Ghana fo robra no ahye bedwafo etenase na wo mo ehwe afimpimi no ene edunan budget no ena deputy finance minister abena osai asare wadi tu dwa ede ensema hodo bi amapende da John Dramani Mahama wo kan ye ewo US abrochimemu na wo kire se ampeni ampa COVID-19 ene Russia afa Ukraine war no aha dwene papa wo kire se ebiman ahodo so no e ade se wo man nim ayede ne pa
we are see afane nyina the effect of COVID-19 hit you bia enye no nko a Russia and Ukraine war so hit you bia nti wo hwa na na mede catch o mo se na anu ya yewura former president John Mahama okoma lecture ewo US school baako odi adanse se COVID-19 any Russian Ukraine war has had a devastating effect on African economies odi adanse na afa de ba ne se no no an nkofo so ka se bibia sa eni honom ba ene de ewo ho se na make se ye di nkomo bia see in the context in which we find ourselves globally obie ni hwa why debt exchanger the growth rates across road and inti omo project say for 2023 with your domestic debt exchange near your growth rate about 1.5%. But with your policies, any programs are you putting in place now, we have proven everybody wrong. And first quarter now you're at 3.4% growth rate. Second quarter so now you're at 3.3%. Until on the average, you're at 3.2%. We have beaten from projections now. And it's sang Nyoma, yeah. One, the decline, try see a bell living within yesika ye dia mai na face so ye be hwehwe kwan a ye be peja yesika semu ntini nyina eka ho bi e ma ne ye ehunu
eno achi na deputy finance minister abena osei asare esan so editu dwa se ampa wogitu mu se afimpimienu ene eduanu nim de na wo my Ghana inflation e wo soro pa ana ejina ohamu chichemu eduanu enan na so aban na abon homode na ayedwumade ma sei inflation so atimi ate abafom abeda e ohamu chichemu eduasanum echirepo mienu
and now I can say inflation is 35.2%. Then so OSHA global projections for Ghana, unim say you be close year no with 42.2%. But clearly we have done better than the projection now. Yadiama globally. After so OSHA ye see na last year resenya na holding against your trading currencies no so say na and 50 February abesi mra menemo kase na holding so at 6.4 per February there. Average na be 30%. It drew November crowd here e koya ko be 54%. We nyina chance share pa ye de to ho ye o kai say 2023 ye ka say post COVID-19 program for economic growth and no see ye be share ye be boa ankranko ejuma private sector ejuma say ye be di kan so ye be share ye planting for food and jobs ni mukena afeso so ye be hwɛ sɛ ye sika sem ɛyɛ revenue no ye be pejemu na ye ndidie ye nni na mu die ye wɔ no ɛno ne ye be di na afeso so ye be ye debt exchange no na ate ɛka na anase interest payment a ye betua no na ate akɔfom kakra na ye hu so etimi ahehan ne ye di sika ne bi ayɛ ne ɔma ɛho hia
on munyamfo Samuel Bujinapo eyesofo a wo hwe ensase ne obo ade ada roma enuoma wode acha yenso wode atodwa se mrahye bedwam krache the brony friend of clerk to parliament no what you send dan anu wadam efri sebre ya na say efri mfie no ene dunum no ekosi mfie no ene ne donkono mo ena mpanyifo ton ya woton ma hwan ya ankurankura developer bi a wono eba be ne japade wo man mu no wono ene wo moton ma no tisi sebre de baabi a wote kura no eho akwakoya asem
Oswafo a wɔhwɛ ensase ne ɔboadeɛ ne paso numunyamfo Samuel abu gyina Paul wabra wɔ nem rahyɛbadwafo ɛkasa ɛna wɔde tu dwa sɛ ensase a yɛka ho asɛm yi ɛyɛ adeɛ sɛ aban a wabɛtwa mu korɔ no wɔ no ɛna wɔtɔn saa nsase no ɛde ma ɛyɛ private developer bi a ɛyɛ afempi mmienu ne dunum nim ɛna wɔtɔn saa asase no afei nso saa fikro nim ɛna wɔn kyerɛ ɛmmerɛ anaasɛ mfie dodo a nipa no ebetumi edi ɛwɔ asase no so wabra wɔn ɛyɛ debate ɛwɔ mmarahyɛbadwafie hɔ ɛhwɛ afempi no any eduna budget ya yefoto sanfo ken oforiata ebekenkan ye ma wo my Ghana fo na Samuel abu jinapo ede tu dwa se records a wo ewo land commission no enya de se wo bi ebetumi atoto ma no ewo sansam sanse afempimi no ene dunum ne ton ena sansasi ye de ema ya na se ye ton ye oto aso ede tu dwa se wo sanfi na mu aye afempimi no ene dunum na mu ena ye de letter na se nkrata ede ma ye private developer ya ye de assassin ema no a wo che se abandada
The Speaker, I want to address the subject matter of land administration. Mr. Speaker, if you allow me, just as my friend talked about the sale of UNESCO lands, I want to submit, Mr. Speaker, that first of all, I will respectfully advise that we should be careful in making for want of a better expression, Mr. Speaker, sweeping statements such as that UNESCO building is being sold. Mr. Speaker, when you get into the records, in many cases, as it always should be with land administration is governed by facts and records. And so the state of a particular parcel of land can only be ascertained through the facts and records. Mr. Speaker, respectfully, I'm not too sure that anybody will quarrel with me or doubt that the repository of the records for land in our country, by law, by the Constitution, is vested in the Lands Commission. And so there's been many occasions, Mr. Speaker, where it is said that UNESCO land is being sold by an offer letter in 2015, having been granted a lease in 2015, took possession in 2019. So by all intents and purposes, Mr. Speaker, the land was sold in 2015 and not 2019.
Edonkume wo my Ghana mrasobedwafie ede atudwa ya wo bo Ghana aban ene na nadodanko agufu adotiri so se wahada ya ni hwan ama reje ayasabia second phase se ya etoso mienu ya na nke wo sampanyifo ye no omampanyini ene ne mpamfo abomi mfi teduko wo ho ama sabre no akanwuram.
Let it be known, stock cutting and commissioning are not procurement processes. Yes, stock cutting and commissioning are not procurement processes. So this idea that you can wait and do a stock cutting sometimes twice, sometimes do stock cutting twice, and recommissioning is not a procurement process. The fact still remains. Mr. Speaker, I would always give credit, and I've said this a number of times, Mr. Speaker. It was President Kufuor who actually developed and sought funding for Dam project. The real construction took place under NDC. But have we ever had any NDC person taking credit for Dam before? We don't. Mr. Speaker, you have got some. Mr. Speaker, I think my colleague is eager to debate. The opportunity is there for him to take a slot and debate. But the one he said, let it be known between you and the good people of Tolon, the hospital they enjoy today was by President Mahama, not Dr. Bawumia or anybody. Mr. Speaker, let me move on. With health, Mr. Speaker, health is very important. Today, we can boast of Accra Regional Hospital called Ridge Hospital. Mr. Speaker, you may be aware that is just one of the phases. The second phase of that project has been suspended by the President Akufo-Addo government to date. In Interestingly, today, as we speak, Mr. Speaker, right opposite, while they abandon the Reach Hospital, the next phase, they are building a $250 million Bank of Ghana headquarters opposite. Choose between healthcare and the headquarters of Bank of Ghana. Which one will you choose? Mr. Speaker, today we can boast of many health facilities under President Mahama. Very importantly, I don't remember the last time a government have started and completed to today. There are people who go to university in Ho, University of Health and Allied Sciences, and become medical doctors. You can go to Cape Coast and do medicine in Cape Coast. These are tangible and sustainable ways of developing healthcare in our country. Which university have you started and completed in your 7 years? Pardon, which one? Mr. Speaker, the record is abysmal. So let it be known. You don't need 7 years to build one district hospital. Okay, as for Agenda 111, it's true. There are many construction sites dotted around the country called Agenda 111. Mr. Speaker, but let it be known, you said you'll do it in 18 months. The truth is that, Mr. Speaker, it is possible that some of those buildings, civil works, may be completed. But we do not have any money in this budget to equip and make all those hospitals functional within the time of President Akufo-Addo. It will be left for the next government to find finances to complete those hospitals. And I'm not saying hospitals are not necessary, they are necessary. So let the chairman be aware what we have done.
Sebedwenima Tamale North Alhassan Suhine Ede Atuja say Enya by Wayana, Waba Betna Kunyaso, Nana no dem metu galamse asio, metu galamse asio, and ya waboda robo nase, dredge, wonhunu ni asa ekokra, and I waja galamse neko, kosan will be say.
Wabram Rashebedweni Emma Desia Wamo Watermale North Alhassa Suini Ekasa and Awadi two just say Wafin Pimi no any eduna budget ya Kenufuriata or my Ghana photo samfo Ebek in Kayeno and Yadia say Wadi two ja and answer what said Quanya a bind the person of Faswo now Wadi two Galamse to us say our my Ghana moon Esa and say nay Galamse to say and sat yensio and Yakwaya Hodo on Munyam for Suhini etwa so edit to just say a bind no Ebetina sworn or Wadi two just say Galamse no I see two a and initially Hunuba kopa wade the office kura ebeto so na waboa ama yetumi etu galamse ase ewo my Ghana mu na so wafimpi mienu ene do na budget ya kenufuriata ebekinkan ya de se waka nsem bi ede afa ho.
A critical murder weapon for close examination in this crime scene. And I say so because when you look at the budget statement, the 39 or 40 pages that the Minister of Finance presented, not even one word was said about Galamsey. You will not find the word Galamsey in that presentation. This was an act that the president put his presidency on the line to overcome. He apologized after his first term and said he was launching the fight the second time. Shouldn't we be asking ourselves why this time in the budget statement not even once has the Galamsey word been mentioned? After we have spent millions and millions of Ghana cedis. Indeed, the former chair of the Interministerial Committee, Professor Afia Brempomaa Hineh, clearly revealed the shame and the embarrassment that can cause the government to want to shy away from Galamsey. But we shouldn't, because we are suffering the effects of those acts.
Sebedwenima Tamale South Ora eye Haruna Juice wode atodwa ya wo kire se wo se ni manimu ya Sebedwafo etonsa efre era eslo wusu akofo ya ye nkita hodie suafo ma wo twene yiri eba Sebedwafie na obeyi ensem bia no wo kire se nsam no efa enkita hodie ananse dwadie bia wo gide se akoso ewo aban ena afa adwuma yekuo bi entamu a wo kire se eye ankrankra adwuma yekuo ewo omai Ghana ye nchefa ananse mfasode ayenya every Vodafone Ghana ho ya eye ohamu chichemu aduasa.
February bosominum afimpimi no ene edwenum yensa yemu ena Vodafone Group PLC wamo ewie omo transfer aye ohamo enchichemu edioson 70% aye no eye majority shares ewo Vodafone Ghana mu ediko Telecel Group na wamo eye transfer yi wobrekra wamo edi shareholder ese wamo edi so esanse Government of Ghana eye minority shareholder na yade ese omo nso ajatumu Wabram Rashabedweni Emma Deshia Womo Ewo Temale South Wonimunyamfo Haruna Idrisu Ekasa Ewa Rashabedwefi ho ena wade tu dwase Womo enyanenti yese abai no 30% interest no eyade se womo ediama different entity ne senti oswafo hwe nkitahudi ensam so emetwemu Ewa Rashabedwefi.
Mr. Speaker, if you recall, I raised on this floor a matter in respect of the Minister for Communication and purported sale of Government of Ghana 30% interest in Vodafone. Mr. Speaker, the Minister for Communication owes a responsibility to come to this House to explain to us whether a transaction transferring the government minimum interest of 30% to another entity have been facilitated by the state, and if so, to explain to us where she got authorization to give the consent on behalf of the government of Ghana, because that 30% is government of Ghana interest. Mr. Speaker, you recall at the time it was valued at 1 billion. My information is that Vodafone have been sold on credit, as I said, for less than about $100 million. We need explanations. Mr. Speaker, you don't run a country not responding to members of parliament. I take strong objection, because this matter I raise is potentially scandalous, potentially. We need explanation. And then the general landscape of our telecom regime, which used to be the hen that lays a golden egg, revenue, employment. The minister must come and explain. Almost all the mobile network operators, with the exception of one, are closing up and folding up. Who is running Airtel? We need to know. It is now a state asset. Who owns Vodafone? What has happened to the government of Ghana 30% interest? We need to know.
Brashibedwafie nsemi so na me gina na me de anwumre no Afia Kasiebo ya me de esum wo CTV so no me de atwe asensen na makwakwaje aboafo nkrato me ba ye be konsam fofrom na onim se HIV AIDS yade no asama ne muso de ehun sam wo ha me koba me de bebo.
Be thrilled, educated, and entertained. Team Queen Ghana is here, showing this and every Saturday, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. live on CTV, Ghana's #1. Powered by Ashkoff Productions Limited, who gets to represent Ghana on an international platform come June 2024. Team Queen Ghana, it's your time, own it.
I'm inviting 8 beautiful girls into my home.
My name is Davida Arhen and I'm a contestant of Rabbit Starlet Season 2.
Not only should they be ambitious, they should be smart.
Come on, Bobby! I need to get her! Hey! Fine! If you won't go, I'll go myself.
Emotionally intelligent.
Zoom, 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 zoom. 5, 2, 3.
And most importantly, Rabbit girls.
Girls no. Bro.
So far the journey has been amazing but very tough. I'm not going to just sit and relax because I want a crown.
But I have to straighten your crown for you.
Watching some of us leave is so very, very emotional.
One thing you forget, there's a game within the game.
See people struggling to be first. There is a first amongst the first, and that is how everything goes.
Okay, then cheers to that. Cheers.
Cheers.
To the ultimate queen of Rabbit Starlet Season 2. Rabbit Starlet is incredible. Are you ready?
Let the wind May the best talent win.
Have you ever imagined how easy it would be for you to buy a land, register, and get the right permit to be able to build? Do you know the right engineers to build your home suitable and safe for your family? How well can you maintain the building in order for it to be safe and sound for you and your family? Shiame Odansini Odilia, Ctv, so Sundays here, 4 to 5 p.m.
Abusefo mamu nyina kwa baba enyimre no nsia Kasiebo Ctv so afei en wakan ho a yeda se emo akwa baye kai wo se Kasiebo ye twego wo afiefie mu kasafo nyine so abefo ntentafidie no so ekoso pa Facebook my Ctv GH social media handles ahodo ni nyina oba my Ctv GH Kasiebo ebe piaba na wonya bi ahwe kai se obeto amano fefo amonum so enya bi ahwe afei yento aso na yemfa kase no de aka yemfa ensom we yeto aso ewo Asante Mantam Kropon Kumase emo na atelafo ene ahairdresserfo wonom enkabo muko mechre Ghana National Tailors and Dressmakers Association won krobata ewo new tafo anase old tafo emumua wondodo be se eduoso ensia ne akire nyame aya adom ama won tete a wokwaje ye no wode esi ama mpanyifo aya mamre ne amane a wagya won kwan
October bosomeni de tosonum Afia Brempomaa Hineh eduson enkronim ena Ghana National Tailors and Dressmakers Association yaji wo mutu mo wo my Ghana mu se seba na adepam a wo so ebo homodi ye pa na afipimi no ene dunanim ena Council for Technical and Vocational Education for wo mo eje wo mutu mu se wo so eye trade association a wo dwumadi ene se wo so ebe ye adwuma apam nyoma e wo my Ghana manya Ghana nko na mom no wo epam bi so amahodo so ekoton wabra dwumadi ne ekoso no eyade se nipa beye apem ne ekire na wo eba dwumadi na sebia Ghana National Tailors and Dressmakers Association chairman Emma Kumase ene Otafo ene ebushafo dodo na ene ba dwumadi ase afenso wo eye graduation no so eba dwumadi na sebi Wabra Ctv Yamani Boni ene Ora Joseph Mafo Tebia awo ye chairman Emma Kumase branch ekasa ye ne wodi nsem sei etudwa
ye abrafo ye bobia no ye we nsam dwuma no yetimi edibo yetimi hwe masu yetimi sifie yetimi toka yetimi hwe busia yetimi ye bibia edi enti adwuma so ba ko so se ye obia me ye edi ye adwuma me so na me pese me ko adwuma me sinoses na de boa me enti sa adwuma de wa wo ye won sa no adwuma bia no wo ye na wo ye ni ya enye se bo odwuma ye adwuma bia no se so yanka obi adwuma de na mo ye kasa ya ekura adwuma na ye sua ni dia ya de adwuma no enfafo wo so bebre ayi timi de bobra e ye bibi biara o man
wakasa wie ye ena Ora Kofi Apawu a ye zona chairman enso editu dwa se ena ni so pa se eye Dr. Amuzu etumi aboa na wone no apartner wo mo edi dwumai oto aso ede adesrede eto aban nanim se wo mo besre na da se nipa ni bo ho a wo mo ewie dwuma na nya de se wo mo e workshop ni senti aban no ema wo mo e wo sa kwan so
kasa ye tikwe la ye graduation be by next graduation no different e say enipa omu ye Samson kwa ye 87 omu ye graduate omu say 76 na ye ze esai ye nika ne se ne dwene bibi se e wose e mofra no enyammoa bi a ebra wo pie abonten obi ehia adopam ewia dikura afidi a wode be ye adwuma no na ho aye enyama no
wakasa wie ye ena Dr. Muzwa oye CEO Emma Herbal Hospital anasa clinic ba ko a ewo my Ghana mu agidipa enso ede nsem wei etudwa
agiatum aban side ben e wase inti men ka se wan ko no school inti mu ha men ka se wan ko trans school di o madam ye ma onu bia de ben ye ko school benyan e bia na madam de ben e dia ma ono nya kokuduro na munye aduma be se fa we so atu practice wo ga na nyina afo e na adwuma wura afo nyina afo say o ma nyina ye man no sakwani hye wase a kire adwuma no yie akwala so ase bo hye obo ase no kofom kra no che wade na me no ono bi ma se be hu afi no we hu so efro no na obi afa kumafa no fa hye ne boss ase na boss nso nya kumafa hye de be ne adwuma efo ade
ne krakra mo no Emmanuel Asare Bafo wono nko a na wo ye bema woda wo mo a wo graduate no entem ono so e de nsem wei atudwa
sa akansi no me atomi sini no ama Dr. Musu ama industrial machine kama eti so nya kokko se da bia Dr. Musu e yi free bia no awadi shana na wo shana na mu
Dream Waivers adwuma kwensha bayanse wone ashaiman minor na se mensene no adwuma ko a ehwe ahobambo so ensem ana sempo apomuden ho ensem won makoye ntete ne nkyerkyere efa HIV yare no ho de ama adrabafo a wonum ewa ashaiman ene ne potem
Jumedie no eka eye ni awomo ye ediaboa eye World AIDS Day ya eye 1st December 2023 we enunti womo eboa ama womanfo dodo na etumi akwakwohwe womo HIV status netimi aboa na eye HIV emoawa no tumi abrena sekra sanso ena hyenkafo womo edidwe ni nanso no empenifo ede womo efa enkyerkyere mu esanso ema womo test kit no kyere kwan a wobefa so etumi ayebi executive director wono and that Dream Waivers organization ano Jonathan Tete Kwao edinsem say ene tuja
yeah can say nipa bebre e Ghana omunim HIV status na bebre su wodu inti ye say by the end of 2025 no 95% of Ghanaians who have HIV will know their status ombehu omu status na omu omu status ni so a efisa 95 ni mu no still no yeah, the 95 about to Edroso because Edroso was free of charge. Ghana Health Service and Jessica. Now and also no, yeah, cause yeah, the two Edroso and move 95%. I say omutimi then omuhuye omudi your friend virus suppressed na at the end of the day no omudi virus ni so na virus no antimi then enya womo
and which way HIV coordinator wo Ashaiman Health Center Madam Araba ede yakasa ye echiremu se obesre se abrano no wo bia nhwe se ne HIV status no wobekọ akwakohwe se de yete
ntiare ya kan se driver so mate o passenger o oton wadi o obi antwen ben yen number the test kit ni bi self test ne say wankasa na wo be teste nurse so wa ha se wontime nya obi si ono wontime nya ye wa ha se e be boa na ya ma wo be sa odi kofie so a instructional sheet wom a e be kire odnyama a wo be ye a wankasa wo betimi aye test ni bi wo ye test ni wi a numbers wom a wo betimi afre hospital bi e ben wo betimi akọ na woni nurse se wo akọkasa na mechanic say our response to HIV testing it's encouraging because anytime we come around they respond omo ba beje omo a sebe yehu sebi wo mu moje mu no so they also follow it up omo ba beje ndro and I will say the patronage is encouraging but the fact that it is encouraging in interest say ye betena say e wo say dani de nyina ye body ro no na amanfo ehun say ampa emoawa no e wo ho ene kwan omo so omo befa abo omo ho ban
ne kwakwamu ena Nathan Owuso wono eba asie bi se wo ba behwe HIV status woni yen ekasai
HIV is na omo kano first na main test here no na yem hihimi pa ba sesia new technology na ba no is easy to test to me test here no me hu status me ne agipa to me encourage the youth no so be an test no hu status na memo yem hihimi uwo bia e was so called nearest to the clinic and a hospital na mo hwema
Afe yenko dwede ani sikasem Kasiebo emuo. Best afinie and aban at the gold for oil policy sheye ba ye na na ni swade hunu ne se o my Ghana ye wo gold and afan wo ho nsem so ayere wenten de amayen enti aban ne ye na dwense ne wo best se sika kokko ni bi na wo de akwa akodi nsesa na wo de age fan wo na aboa momen ye fan wo bo no ayere wenten no etumi abafom aban kire sa afi pepepe ne watumi at the gasoline and the gas oil best 800,000 metric tons and edi and sesa wodi gold ni bi edi sesa ba eno kire say fam wa dada nanka ye die anase edidi dwuma e wo my Ghana mu no emu ha mu chechemu aduasa de gold for oil policy no agiafa.
Mr. Speaker, let me begin by situating my contribution to the debate in its proper context, and to say, Mr. Speaker, that countries across the globe, including the most developed countries, have had their own share of the recent global crisis. Mr. Speaker, the worst since World War II. Mr. Speaker, it is in that context that I proceed to contribute to the debate on the motion as it relates to the lands and natural resources sector of our country. Mr. Speaker, in times of crisis, what is required is leadership. In times of crisis, what is required is leadership. And leadership as it relates to choices. Leaders must make the right choices in times of crisis. Mr. Speaker, it is on that basis that I submit that in this time of global crisis, unprecedented global crisis, President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo and his government have made the right choices, the consequential choices, the choices which have far-reaching implications for the forward march of our country. And Mr. Speaker, I refer specifically to that innovative program dubbed the Gold for Oil program. Mr. Speaker, under the distinguished leadership of President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, Mr. Speaker, I should emphasize, the most distinguished Vice President in the Fourth Republican dispensation, thought about, formulated, and implemented, Mr. Speaker, the Gold for Oil program. And Mr. Speaker, the Gold for Oil program is alongside the domestic gold purchase program of the Central Bank, the Bank of Ghana. So, Speaker, maybe I should explain. Until the introduction of the Gold for Oil program, the Bank of Ghana's reserves when it comes to gold was totally insignificant. And through the domestic gold purchase program, today our nation, a gold-producing nation, can say proudly that the reserves of the Bank of Ghana when it comes to gold is shorter. And this is what culminated in the Gold for Oil program. Mr. Speaker, 30% of our national consumption have been purchased through the Gold for Oil intervention. And that has resulted in a reduction of fuel prices in our country. And Mr. Speaker, specifically, you will see that in November 2022, the price of the exchange rate stood at 17 Ghana cedis. By November 2023, the exchange rate had dropped to 12 Ghana cedis as a result of this intervention. Mr. Speaker, this policy was implemented by the Vice President. That is why I say in times of crisis, you need bold leaders who will make the right decisions. And that is why I salute the Vice President for coming up with this policy, the Gold for Oil program. Mr. Speaker, governance is about choices. Governance is about ideas. Governance is about thinking through the issues. Governance is about effective implementation. And Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, as he's done all through his public life, has demonstrated that he has the capacity to make the right decisions.
Afia Brempomaa Kasiebo. November bosome ne da na edikan na PSS star ede video bi eto social media so ya na no wa hyehyɛ ne ho te sɛ de sɛbe kɔrensani na ne nante ene ne yo nyina ese obi a watwitwa bi ntwabie ye ne de nanso uhra na dwere da hɔ pa na ye radio anase wireless esini ne konso ya ne nwom foforo a wade na die moyi wo ba omanfo akeka akabiafa video yi ho a na wane yenua akua sonto modohima ehia ewo ayiko dwumadie so ewo Accra FM ena wakyerɛkyerɛ de nti enam so ema wode video ente se eba abonten
di wadro no video bi eba ya na wo share trouser na wo tete se kɔrensene no wo mo se wo dey promote alcoholism
there be that PSA will never do such.
And the other now says Saturday.
Medasipa. The reason was Mishia Bibia Meteno. Information center bi ho.
Okay.
Na abri biano. Omo bo eyemo omo bo me nwom ne pa.
Okay.
Na one day me pie free na menam me fie anim kakra no. Na Mishia sa kɔrensani no. Na unso person who say onimpi siesta no monitor nti na wo tintim so na wo tummo makoma sena se na me ye na no na me pie man fa me phone na mpese nka me video no na mpese me kire nyina na se even awurade adom nti wona wanom nsa bupo ehunu se e wo se ode aseda bi ma awurade chese bona wabono nsi ne ho kwan se ontimi nyi awurade aye enti wabode now so no still I wakai say was it me enyum dia ya me de papa no dey say body
what insane ten
jaja wasi danios awurade nti chese nyame ma akɔwensafo po etumo edi ye awurade aye nti menene kasa wie na ya me yasema me nkuta me family be video nti me fi okodu fi house ne ene me ate ama no
because we mu no nim kro na otimu no
what ase chese awurade nipa som no medafo en fa ho ne te bia wom whether the person is a Muslim, whether the person is a drunkard, whether the person is a mad person, at the end of your face, so obia bumpo na otu nyame nyom na ya na nipa ne bebre won mo yentimi entenye mabiase ya na ya me ye pa how can I promote they say no ade a me ye no nche say ye promote no convince ni say wo to nyame nyom a medofo enya anika enya fe na me de demonstrate say impose wo ye convince ni a e wo say wo ye awurade aye nti enya say ye promote I mean, that is a canipa brabo montino. Said ye tia bia, but ebusia, ye de a chlese. Unipa one no man's a bumpo. Or to me, ye would have.
Afia Brempomaa Kasiebo ewo amanone ensemu na Niger man no papa enam ne so ema bantugo ba ye sesebre we free ne nto abase ewo Mali man no na afi aman hodo a akaso
Niger pani ya oye dom no odnani akire mu ewo Mali na afi Burkina Faso se wo kwosra ne nuanum ya wotimi agina pintin agina nachi ama bra ya oye dom agi tumi no wa makwan ema ne chanfo anasa ama bia no ani abre pese obegi tumi ne free ne cement wi amu rani kro Niger mum Niger strapani General Abdurrahman Tiani na wo kire se sa bredie ewo se obeda Burkina fo na afi Mali fo ase sanse drudi mu atene no twena din ehwe bia wo mo na agina nachi se de Mali eni Burkina Faso ekamba mu sentrampengoma ejina wona so no ekromyensen akwapam ya efimfimpimienu ne aduonu ni mu abepimfimpimienu ne aduonu mienu tiem saafo nyina no ye dom agitumi efiri wo mu ayato abade ama wo mu a no osusu se ahokyere ene bo a wo hye manfo no so wo ba mo ho ahenha wo mu no enye no na odi so enam so ematiani oduru Burkina Faso na no ya wada no no kyere se amamienu enyonkofa no e wo se ejina ne na so pa Burkina pani ya wo no so agitumi edi afiri aban ayato aba no ho no e Captain Ibrahim Traore bebre na wone no ehia ye ma enipa mienu to ato adwene bebre anobaba ya oye nyina no ehwe enkabom ne mpuntu afa ebetimi aboa ema ekroni mienu fa ne ntoma pa efra sa nipa yi ekire se aman ya wo mo ehye wase no wonta emwa wo mo eni ti wo pese wo de wo hunya wo fa huti free sanko asom no mo na afi wo hese tuate ahodo ene asekire mu abenesie a emfa mpuntu papa bia emre wo mo no wo yi wo ho ede afiri ho no mo eno ena Burkina Faso aban no nso ede ne ho aka ho bia wo de krata ababeto abonten Praira tiani edru Mali Kropon Bamako mo no oda ho en oda Mali nuanom Kenel Asimi Gota ya wono so agi tumi a Mali kronim se wa ya ade papa edru de tia ye okogi tumi woni je na behwese wiase nyina asori yetia no tutu ni ono ani nuanom abibiman ene de asrafo ko ne na Ghana fo kra ka hu bi ena Mali fo ni Burkina fo ka ba chiri mu hye ntampengu ma no mze momre ye twem mo ponko papa mpo sabi wo mu hurita na nka mpese emfui namso ema nije fo chire se oda Mali fo ase pa se nkromi ense free bobu sumi ni mo ena onyina kwa pambe nkromu a wo hwese bebo won ho ban ejina won na so de tia wo mai bia wo pese wo ye etukotena anasem wodan won no obetu ehye won so enti Praira tiani dru Mali no wo hwese obejina ne naso waka na fe ehye bia wo de na mo a eno betimi aboa ma sa kromi ensa na fa ne tuma pefra na o mehwe na bemu man panifo miensen ese ehye bia wo betimi de egu akwan mu a wo maboa ema won krofam a wo bibiman mu na ehye bia no a wo ye hwese nuanom aka wo bibiman mu so bedi won ho no obetimi ayesan so wakonko akyeye pa na sa bredi asie de wo hye bia tototo wo mu so o makwakọ ye dom de a ene mo mu wra ha o mu nyina tututu wo ho fo se eno enwu abemu kra wo betimi aye adwuma de aboa emo manfo no ebre ya wo mu no nyina no wo matimi afiri mu a ene wo mbotaye ye dikan a wo mutimi agi tumi no wo hwesa abre ya nanka nhihye aba se ye kwakoto aba e wo maliman mu nanka tumi ya wo magye no emfimpi mienu ne aduonu nan ya sanso adan mu na ye de akwakoma eye kamemi kemi aban antentam emene ni jefo so kire se so de beko kamemi kemi aban no nanso emretie mu be ye mfie miensa ekire no toto niema kama ema asrafo na hwese bia ekoyi ansa no adan mu e de ama kamemi kebifo no Mali ye na adwene se enche kra wono so beto nsafra so afo ahodo ya waje watu mu Burkina Faso eni nije na wo mu nyina ehia ko benkro mu ahwese wo mu asrafo nti wakasa wache wo ho nka eno ye comradeship no na wo mu nyina to adwene ahwese se nkro mi ense betuma fa ne tuma pefra esanse kro no abreye papa
na brema me kwan ma enwumre no sia Kasiebo no medini nyina esie esomo efri Ctv so etwa eguye wa fiefie mu okasafo nyina wodo no so etwa ne ho irede abefo ententen fidie no eso ne amede som wo no ebi enese Alhaji Saidu Agongo ya woye kofarbae emasi MG wakoya ye amomanfo a ensuo edi wo no munya ewo mepe ene ne mpotemo Kasiebo kronwa emo yede esom wo se mame abna osaya sorry ya wo ye deputy finance minister wo de atudwo se abana yade pa ama inflation ati abafom yekwadi dwa na gold for oil policy no aban mu panyifo kire sa aboa pa ama fa nwa wo men yede edi dwuma no emu ha mu nchichemu aduasa de sa policy mo ena efre ye konkrofo kroni krofo man so ni je man no panyimpa dam ne so e ma bantu go ba ye wakobon sra wo Mali e na fe Burkina Faso e man no emu Afia Brempomaa Hineh ene mosomfo wa otena fie hwe ye na wotwe mu nyina ye de aseda e ma panyifo echinchim fidie no fruma e boa ma Kasiebo ejina mu afridwada ebesi enefia dai aseda piesie e na ye de e ma mo nyame ya adomo a ebrepem ye besan ehia na so sabre de e de nkra